Hump day, happy hump day. Price action pushed up above $72,000. Actually, pushed up above $73,000. What are we to do? For those of us that have been in these markets for months and months, and some of us years, and some of us like me, and some of you out there, several cycles. The time is now. What are we going to do about it? Is there a flash crash caution we should be paying attention to? AKA ultimate buying opportunity before the parabolic uptrend happens? I do believe so. We got to talk about that. We got some great data that we got to cover today, breaking down exactly what's going on, levels that we should be watching, everything that we should be doing. And yes, Bitcoin is pumping. It's up massively over the last year and a half. So let's talk about that. Let's get involved. Everybody hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ding the bell. We're going to be diving in here in just a few moments. So with that being said, let's talk about a little bit of tunage that we can listen to as we let this ride. Let's go.
Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins.
Gonna be getting going here in just a moment.
Let's
Let's get engaged.
Can't nobody tell me nothing. SEC and its policies rely on whatever Gary thinks. Bitcoin's a flight to quality. I heard that from Larry Fink. Every hour losing purchasing power on food and shelter. It's not our fault. Blame the coal. It's the political cowards when it comes to gas. Our purchasing power just got cut in half. I sit back and laugh, open my bag, fill it with stacks and sats. Bitcoin, pumping, altcoins, pumping. I've been prepared for this. Can't tell me nothing.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a flight to quality. We are hearing from clients around the world.
Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pumping. I've been prepared for this.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as
Bitcoin, pump, altcoin, pump.
we are hearing from clients around the world.
Can't nobody tell me nothing.
Crypto, depending on how you think about it. And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a
Can't
flight
nobody
to
tell me
quality.
nothing. Bitcoin, pump.
We are hearing from clients around the world.
Prepared for this.
The question is, are you ready? Because we got to dive in here. So every single one of you, I want to see you getting active in the live chat. I want to see you getting active, retweeting this space on Twitter. I want to see you hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button. We got to break down exactly what's going on. And that's what we're about to do right now, because this market is about to absolutely melt some faces. So what exactly are we going to do about it? If you're ready to dive in, throw a one in chat. I want to see the ones flying. Drop some bull emojis in chat if you are a BitLab member, because we've got to dive into these signals, because this is the time. The moment is now. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to the BitLab Academy stream. Is Bitcoin pumping? Is it pushing up? Is it breaking down? Well, when we look at the chart, just as a reminder here, we are exactly almost 100% where we could be expected to be based on where the price action is, counting the days from the cycle bottom. Looking at this cycle here, this is the previous cycle. This is the 2016, 2017 cycle. And look exactly where we're at right now. Just to make it very clear, it is right there, that pink line, right on track, exactly where it should be. Sometimes I talk to people that are new to Bitcoin. Maybe they're ignorant to it. And I don't mean ignorant negatively. I mean like necessarily ignorant, because they haven't really dove into it yet. They say, well, how can you figure out what's going on? It's volatile. It pumps, it crashes. Well, you look at the data, you look at what's going on with the inflows, you look at the appetite, you look at the strength signals, you look at everything going on. It doesn't matter what you're doing, how you're doing it, where you're doing it. I know before I was 100% full-time in crypto, I was working, I was doing other things. I had my desk set up, wearing my pajamas, having New Girl on in the background, something like that. You know what I mean? But making sure, no matter what, I was spending my time diligently diving into the signals of what was going on. So I wasn't just being completely confused and misled by the price. The price can seem so, emotionally charged with excitement, but also with fear and all these different things that the market makers and the money flow, big money, smart money, they do to push price in certain levels so that you get actively sort of charged and make stupid decision in this market. So everybody turn off New Girl in your apartment if you're working from home. Focus on what's happening right now because I'm about to bring you the goods. Again, my name is Kellam. Welcome to the BitLab Academy and shout out to our channel partners, NordVPN. Make sure you're protecting yourself. NordVPN.com/BitLab. You get 4 months free and you can make sure that you're protecting yourself from all those online predators trying to crack into your computer, trying to figure out where you're at, trying to take your crypto. And even if you're doing other stuff, we all log into banking on our phones. We all search and do. Protect yourself, nordvpn.com/BitLab. And of course, our channel partners, CoinW, which that link is, both the links actually are directly below the video. If you're watching on Twitter, the links will be in that first comment. If you're watching here on YouTube, if you go down directly below the video, you'll see the description and hop in there. But we got some things to talk about. So let's make sure, okay, maybe we're comfortable in our pajamas, but let's go ahead. Let's dive in and see what's going on in this market. All right, let's do this together. All right, well, here it is. Right here, where are we at? We're at $2.44 trillion market cap. And we know based on the history of the cycles in crypto, which is the regularity of everything that happens. And sometimes some of you are still a little bit frustrated right now. Look at where we're at. This is a 4-year cycle. The halving that happens every 210,000 blocks, which is roughly every 4 years. It's a little bit shorter than that, but blocks are 10 minutes on average. We have 210,000 blocks, and it equates to about 3 years and 10 months. And remember, those blocks can change by a few minutes either direction over the course of that 4 years, which is why it's not a fixed date, but it's roughly about every 4 years. And we see the halving, which is this line here. We see the halving, this line here. We see the halving. What happens after this period of consolidation? This is just highlighting the amount of progress. We're 13% through this next halving cycle. We can see what it looked like. What did the price action do in this period of time? What did the price action do in this period of time? And again, what did the price action? This one, I don't want to say we want to rule out, but it was much earlier in the life cycle of Bitcoin. Market cap was the amount of money in Bitcoin was so much smaller. The volatility, it just exploded. In this case, look at this. We had about 170, 180 days and then up, about 170, 180 days and then up. Where are we at? We're about 185 days, maybe almost 190 days. Market's larger, may take a couple more days. We got the election right around the corner. Regardless of who wins, Bitcoin is programmed to go up because it is a fixed supply asset. If there's more demand, you cannot produce more of it like you can with gold. If there's more demand, you cannot print more money to offset all the runaway spending that world governments are doing. It's not just the US, it's the world over. What happens when there's more demand with Bitcoin? And we're seeing essentially a supply shock on all exchanges. And now over $30 billion, realize that, over $30 billion has already been bought up in the BlackRock Bitcoin Spot ETF this year, since January 11th when it went live, $30 billion. And we're going to pull up that data here in a second. For gold, when the gold ETF launched several decades ago now, I think it took something like 1,179 days for the gold ETF, which is supposed to be the best asset in the world, right? We have to realize there's a lot of similarities, but there's nothing better than Bitcoin as an asset. It takes all the positive attributes of Bitcoin. It takes all the positive attributes of gold, but also has about 70 other attributes that are positive that gold could only wish to participate in. And we're seeing that appetite showing up in the markets right now. When we come over here and we look at the rest of the market as well, this is the crypto bubbles map, the different altcoins that are out there. We see, where was it at? Link was having a little bit of a run this morning. It was up almost around 7%. It's now still up about 5.7. Arbitrum, 4.7%. Maker, now known as Sky, 10.7%. Uniswap, 4.1%. Aave, I think, is a little bit of a silent sleeper in this market because of essentially they're a legacy DeFi play, while also, there's a lot of things that are built on top of that. There's a lot of institutional participation in Aave as well. Say also showing a little love to the bulls here, but Tia getting a little bit of a sell-off. Caspa, a little bit of a sell-off. Tau, one of my largest holdings, a little bit of a sell-off, but that's okay because when we're looking at what's happening and we see that Essentially what's happened is because Bitcoin isn't just running away, that little bit of a sell-off breeds uncertainty in these risk markets. And what's more risky than Bitcoin? Every altcoin. The smaller the market cap compared to Bitcoin, the more risky of a play that is, which means the easier it is for those price actions to get pushed around, whether it be to the upside or to the downside. And so when you see a little bit of uncertainty, and in this case, the uncertainty is not just completely running away, there's a fear that we may have a bigger pullback. And in that case, we always see a much larger pullback in those riskier altcoin plays. Does that mean don't invest in altcoins? It's going to be up to you. It's going to be up to your risk matrix. It's going to be up to your time horizon. It's going to be up to what your goals are in this market. Everybody is different about what their goals are, what their money position is, how much capital they have allocated. And also, I want you to all realize this. Because I believe in this so much doesn't mean you need to believe in it the same way I do. I'm also in a different position financially than a lot of people as well. I've been in these markets for a long time. I also have a different understanding of how to read the data in these markets. I can navigate this differently than somebody that may have just gotten in the last 3 months. If you're 100% down, you're so excited about this, great. But do not put yourself at risk. Do not put yourself at risk by listening to BitLab Academy or Frankie Candles or Crypto Face or Discover Crypto or Tom Crown or any of these various shows that are out there, Investing Bros. And because I'm 100% all in on crypto, okay? But don't take my knowledge, my experience, and put yourself in a position where you're like, well, they're very bullish on this. So then you don't pay rent? Because I've had somebody message me about this. They were so excited about the bullishness that they didn't pay rent because they expected to double that in the matter of a couple of weeks. It's not how this works. These markets have a period of time where they go exponential. And it's up until that point that it can really wreck a lot of people's lives. That's why I always try to remind you all, this is not financial advice because I don't know your situation. I don't know where you come from. I don't know what your risk tolerance is. I don't know if you see the bullishness on maybe a stream, but you don't realize even within bullishness, you can have a pullback that can then slingshot to the upside. And the problem with people that are really investing on the emotional hype, the potential hype of a situation, they're the first ones to sell at a loss before the actual full bounce comes. So I just want to preface that. And also I want to remind you all, we are here not to make money. We are here not to change our lives with crypto. We are here to find gratitude together for the moment that we are in ahead of 8.5 billion people on the planet. You all are so far ahead of the pack. You're so far ahead of institutions. You're so far ahead of world governments, and we are on the precipice of one of the most exciting times in history, and we're here at the forefront of it. So let's find some gratitude and remember why we're doing this. Money is only a function of the ability to value your time in a way, to have more free time in a way that you can spend it with friends, you can spend it with family, you can get outside and touch grass, hug a tree, kiss a puppy, whatever you need to do, but making sure that you're participating in life. As exciting as this is, please don't spend, every waking hour on crypto. Make it meaningful, make it count. Now let's talk about what's going on in this market. I just want to shout out everybody that's in here. We got 229 people in here right now between YouTube and Twitter. We'll probably have about 500 or 600 here in a couple of minutes as this show continues on. But again, we're here to participate in the best opportunity of our lives. So let's not f this up, okay? Now let's dive in, and we're going to get right into it. And here is the first thing I wanted to share. Michael Saylor himself here on Squawk Box. Let's see what he has to say. And let me unmute this on my side. I know he just never ending, just gems that Michael Saylor talks about, but this is recent. This is just as we just had this high yesterday.
Bitcoin crossing the $70,000 mark for the first time on Friday. This morning, it's now above $72,000. Joining us right now to talk Bitcoin is Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy Executive Chairman. An 8K out from the company this morning, revealing it just bought more than $800 million in Bitcoin. As of the end of last month, his company held about 200,000 Bitcoins. And Michael, I want to thank you for joining us. You have been early and courageous, and you continue to double down. I want to talk about where you think Bitcoin is, but also want to talk about how you think about MicroStrategy and your company as a proxy for Bitcoin now that ETFs are available to the public.
Sure. Well, I think I'd start just with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is certainly at least digital gold. It's going to eat gold. It's got all of the great attributes of gold, and it's got none of the defects of gold. If you could teleport gold from New York to Tokyo in a few minutes, people would like it. It's going to divert capital from risk assets and risk ETFs like SPY, and you can see that these ETFs are doing that. It's going to be incorporated into a lot of funds like the BlackRock Global Opportunities Fund or the Strategic Income Opportunities Fund. And so it's an asset class. As it goes into other funds, it's going to become structural. The halving is going to cut the organic supply of natural sellers in half around April 20th. That means there's only about $32 million a day of natural sellers. And the price of Bitcoin is going to have to adjust up in order to meet that investor demand. So I think that's what's going to happen next to the asset class.
I mean, what people don't understand is that this takes all the positive properties of not just gold, but every investable asset out there. It transmutes the ability of our culture to actually store their wealth, to store money, also transact, right? You can transact like money, or you can store your money and not have it devalued from the misappropriation of government spending wherever you're at. But it also, it basically serves the unbanked population. What the hell is that? I'm froze up there. The unbanked population is, I think it's like 1.8 billion people globally that are unable to hold and have a bank account. So what the hell are you supposed to do? There's people for instance, in different parts of Africa that the only way that they can transact value is through trading phone minutes until Bitcoin came around. So it goes so far beyond, well, it's just magic internet money. No, it's not. If you want to know what magic money is, it's the US dollar, which hasn't been backed by anything since 1971. It went off the gold standard. In fact, I have this little graphic I was going to show it at the end, but it is this right here. Which one is the Ponzi scheme? The US dollar, which devalues every hour you work to make money, every time they print money, every time they spend an excess of money, every time they're sending money overseas, every time, everything that they're doing that devalues the dollar is devaluing your time spent to earn the money to live. That's what we all, and I share this with you all, and every one of you that's on here right now, you all know this. But the reason why I talk about this, even though we want to look at price action, we want to know what the levels are, we want to know what the data points are, these conversations need to be had, and I need to share this with you so that all of you have an understanding of how you can communicate and interact and engage with those that are in your world, your friends, your families, your neighbors, the stranger at the bar, so we can dispel the massive misinformation about the basically lack of understanding about what Bitcoin is. Every one of you, I don't want to use the word missionary, but every one of you is a point of contact that can either plant a seed of somebody in your world that you meet, that you bump into, whether they're in your family or they're new. You can plant a seed for them to be more likely to get involved early, or you can plant a seed of distrust and push them away and basically push them further down the path so they get left behind, because this is the direction of where the world's going, whether it becomes something that supplants US dollar, which is not something I'm looking forward to or counting on. I think these are going to run in parallel, in tandem with all these other assets. But those of you that are participating early, and those of you that can essentially orange pill people in your world, you are helping every single person be ahead of the best opportunity in our lives. So I just wanted to bring that up. Now, remember, Bitcoin is a fixed supply. It can only ever have 21 million. The new Bitcoin, yes. Is there inflation? Yes. Every 210,000 blocks, the amount of inflation gets cut in half until we get that fixed supply of 21 million. So we need to understand this. And it's not, I mean, we can get on with this, but God, we just need to really remember this. Hi, Kelly, the number one help. You are the number one helper, Granny's Garden. Shout out to you. What's up, my man, Danny Bird? What's up, C90 for the win? Hello, Lab Rats. What's up, everybody? Sufficient enough. Dave Middleton, Alexander G, all the friends and family. We got 396 people in the room. So let's continue on what is going on. So going off with that, of course, you've all seen these headlines. This is going to be a persistent and consistent sort of falling of dominoes towards integrating Bitcoin into different strategies. Not only Florida, but we just saw Dennis Porter posted, was it a week and a half ago? They just got legislation in the House. I think now it's got passed. It needs to go to the Senate in Pennsylvania about having basically the rights to self-custody. Now you see Florida's CFO endorses a strategic Bitcoin reserve, urging state pensions to add Bitcoin as a hedge against market volatility. These are state pension funds. We just saw, it was at Emory University here in Georgia, just allocated, I think it's like 22% of their endowment to Bitcoin. And this is not even considering, we haven't had Harvard or Columbia or Yale or Princeton. Once these dominoes start to fall, and it's already happening, it's very slow, and it's going to be in 3 years' time, we're going to be like, how did I not see this coming? I'm breaking it down for you every day. It is here. It is now. The question is, what are you doing about it? And the reason why I bring this up, maybe you've already bought, maybe you're already holding. The question is, these things should make you more bullish. And your hands, the way you're holding, you should be more willing to hold than willing to chop out in every emotional moment when the price, oh my, don't get triggered by that. Shout out to Danny Bird, $9.99 super chat, said, appreciate all the knowledge, brother. Really helps. I appreciate you. I appreciate the super chats. I appreciate the memberships. I appreciate you that are all members of the BitLab community. You got the link right there. It's always backwards. lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. Again, that's lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. You get 15 days free and 33% off for the life of your account. We break things down all day long, every day in there. And it's not just me. We got a whole community in there, sharing charts, giving feedback, talking about different calls, doing member streams, all that and more. And if you want to upgrade and get the 120 lessons that we have in there, you can get that as well alongside the indicators. But let's continue on. We got some signals that we got to look at. You're going to really like to see what I'm about to show you. But BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF just crossed 30 billion. This is what I was talking about before. In assets in only 293 days. Fastest growing ETF ever. This does not say fastest growing crypto ETF ever. This says fastest growing ETF of any asset that's ever existed ever. The gold ETF took 1,790 days to break 30 billion. Bitcoin has done this in 293 days. And this is just one of the ETFs. Remember, there are 11 ETFs in the US. I think there's 42 ETFs globally. The appetite is real. This is what we need to be paying attention to, despite any small short time frame, little dip and blip. And these are all, every dip right now is an opportunity of a lifetime, so long as you have a time horizon into next year, especially if you have a time horizon into 5 to 10 years. Now, continuing on, what do we do when we see a post? We hit the like button. We subscribe to those people. We show some love and get on with it. All right. Now, Bitcoin low time frames. I did a short this morning with this, and really interestingly, just after I posted this short, look at this price action right here. I was talking about flash crash potential opportunity, and I think it may even go a little bit deeper than this. But when we look at the price action, let's get over here. Let's get to the 24-minute. Double click on this. What do we see? This is that sideways chop. Look at this move right down into 71.4, 71.3. Now, again, where did that look like? Zooming in here, look at that, 71.6, 71.4. This couldn't have been more exact, this outline of a potential bear trap coming up. We have to discuss, and we'll do that here in a second. We have to discuss what's to happen where we're at right now. Are we due, for a little bit deeper move, AKA better opportunity to the downside? Because remember, this bullish buying pressure is real where we're at in the market cycle with all this bullishness. And I got some more bullishness that's layering into what's happening towards the end of November into December, especially after we get the uncertainty in markets, all markets around leading up to an election. We get certainty that comes back in regardless of which candidate gets voted in office. And by the way, I champion each and every one of you, regardless of who you're voting for. We have voices in this country, and you have a right to have that voice whichever direction you're voting. I just hope that that we don't have to wait a week after the election to actually get, some sort of determination, because that will spell some uncertainty in markets. But again, remember, uncertainty in markets may present an opportunity with a deeper pullback, aka better opportunity. Now, looking here, Bitcoin geometric mean of prior cycles is on time. Now, what is this? This is basically the average, the mean of 2012, 2016, and 2020. And look where price is. The green line is the average, the mean. And look at where we're at. We're literally 100% on pace for where we should be based on the last 3 cycles. And people go, I talk to people that are outside of the crypto ecosystem, and they ask me, what do I think Bitcoin's going to do? How am I doing? Because they only remember a story, 3 months ago when price dipped to 50,000. It's like, no, we're back up over 72. We just broke over 73. And I expect sometime next year, the market cycle top will be somewhere between 140 on the low side, about 280 on the high side. I'm looking for most likely somewhere in the 160 to 185 range for a top. If we go way beyond that, great. If we don't quite hit it and we're lower 140, great. We are going to be looking at this day by day. And how they say, how can you figure that out? Well, I'm looking at the repetitive nature of how this cycle operates every 4 years, coupled with the global liquidity cycle. When money gets pumped into global liquidity, we see risk assets soar. And we got what, $1.4 trillion from China, $1.4 trillion stimulus package coming in here in a matter of days. We have the election, which we've seen every year. When the election happens, when there's every 4-year period, when the election cycle happens, Bitcoin has moved up after that. All things are leading into a very, very bullish, high probability. Again, we can always have some crazy catastrophe, geoeconomic, geopolitical. So we have to be prepared for that. But on a probabilistic nature, this is what's next. So let's keep our heads down. Let's make sure we don't jack around and mess up this opportunity, because this is the bullishness. We're retesting all-time highs again, 73. I think we went up to like 73.5, 73.6 yesterday. Previous all-time high was basically, we bounced, we rejected right at it. We tapped it. We said tap, 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 tap-a-roo. And this is all before we have $16 billion getting redistributed back to customers that were affected by the FTX crisis back at the end of 2022. $16 billion in stablecoins getting redistributed to crypto-focused people. I think this is around December 7th is when this is supposed to happen. And this is the same time that we have Microsoft is voting. They already started the voting. I think it was today or yesterday. Their shareholders are voting on whether or not Microsoft should add Bitcoin to their balance sheet, a Bitcoin strategy. And again, I said this yesterday, but this puts every major tech company at minimum, Apple, Amazon, Meta, all of them, on notice. Have we discussed our Bitcoin strategy? I think we've got an incredibly bright future ahead if we just stop being so focused on the super small time frames. For all of you that are trading, there should be no frustration whatsoever if the market dips. If you're a trader, you welcome the volatility. You want the volatility. It doesn't matter what direction it goes. If you're an investor, then you just need to look to what the probabilities are over whatever period of time you're investing for. So we have the opportunity, if lining up, we have the fair value accounting rules at the same time going live roughly about when the Microsoft shareholder vote comes due. So we got money coming in. We got the global liquidity getting injected. We have the elections Tuesday next week. And some people are not bullish right here. What the hell are you talking about? And then some people say, we're a little bit overheated right now with open interest on the derivatives platforms and leverage plays and all this. But when you look at this chart, let me take my ugly mug off the camera right now. Where's my mouse? When you look at this chart, this is showing right here. Look at the basically funding rate, AKA this is when there's a ton of people and more people going long on leverage, the funding rate gets higher. It gets more expensive to go leverage long. When everybody's going short, you get this negative funding rate. So this is a great metric to have an idea of how much aggressive leveraged buying there is. And you can see, look how overheated this got. I mean, look at this before this even popped all the way into the top. Look, we had a little bit of a push up right in this zone. It seems pretty balanced for where we're at right now. That does not mean we cannot have some sort of washout. I'm just saying it's not as overhyped and overheated as some people think it is. We're actually looking relatively healthy for where we're at right now in this cycle. Now, moving on, if we look at the liquidation heat map for all those people that are trading on leverage, 3x, 5x, 10x, 100x, they're not going to be in long because of volatility. The window is so short. The margin for where the price can go, 100x, you're going to be in and out, and you're probably kind of an idiot if you're trading 100x, unless you're doing it with like $10 and it's a completely nominal amount that doesn't affect any portion of your portfolio. But looking at the 1 year liquidation heat map, we do still have quite a bit of a tranche up in here. So, but this, you can see this does not account for that move that we had yesterday, which is that move up to over 73,000. So I expect that this hot zone right here, where all that liquidity was probably scooped up. But let's look at it on the chart. First things first, on the much smaller time frames, we do have some liquidity below us, further indicating that we may get a little bit of a flash crash to scoop all this out. Now, do I think we're going to come all the way down and flush out through 68,000? I don't think that's really super likely at this point. It's all going to depend on what happens in the news cycle, right? However, I do think we could push down here and flush all this out, basically north or above 70,000 into this zone. But when we get out here, let's look at the 1 year time frame. And remember that graphic we saw? See, look at this. We cleared this liquidity. Let's zoom in on this just a touch. We cleared that liquidity. Look at that. Scooped it up. We scooped all the way into this one. We don't have that much of a roadblock above us, but look below us. Not much at all. So the pathway is getting cleared. This is why when we see price action push into exciting levels. Now, remember, I talked about this the other day. I think this is the most anticipated Bitcoin bull run breakout that we've ever had. There's so many more people in the market. There's so much smarter money in the market. There's derivative options and stuff, which we didn't have in 2017, right? We've got so many different things, so many different factors. And because the bullish case over this last year has gotten so exponentially strong with all the institutions layering in, the appetite we saw in Q1 of the Bitcoin spot ETFs with almost 1,000 institutions buying allocations to Bitcoin. People were like, do you guys realize before the Bitcoin spot ETFs went live, right about that time, the experts made a prediction that there were an estimate that we may get $5 to $10 billion in assets under management in the first year. BlackRock alone got 30 billion. You guys understand this. Let's actually come over here to this chart. The appetite is real. The bullish case is unprecedented for where we're at. It is part of the election narrative in the campaign. Do you support crypto, or are you just talking about it but actually hammering down on it? This is part of the election this cycle. The case right now for the bullish idea of what could happen is ridiculous. So let's come over here to ETF tracker. And look at this. BlackRock has 417,000 Bitcoin in under a year. Grayscale, 220,000. Fidelity, 188,000 Bitcoin. And then ARK Invest, 50,000, 42,000. I mean, this is astronomical. We are at 1 million Bitcoin, just under right about 5% of the total supply has been eaten up by these ETFs in the matter of under a year. And people are worried. My question is, what data are you looking at if you're worried? That does not make sense to me. Now, continuing on, this is what we're looking at right here. This is a bear with a green candle basically fully impaled. And this is why, because when we look at this, the U.S. Treasury, we plan to conduct weekly liquidity support buybacks of up to $4 billion per operation. Quantitative easing is on schedule right here. at the same number of days that we are projecting, calculating, estimating post halving. April 19th was halving, roughly 150 to 180 days. And now we're getting China liquidity injection coming in. We have the U.S. Treasury talking about buybacks. This is what they call, what they know as stealth QE, where they're just doing, basically just shuffling money around, buying, adding buying support in the markets, buybacks. Guys, you are not bullish enough yet. So continuing on, this is what we need to pay attention to. I've got a number of people messaging me. Why aren't my alts moving? Because you're being impatient. They historically have not moved the same moment Bitcoin has. You might get some movement, but the point is you tend to have Ethereum's, roughly about 30 to 60 days after the Bitcoin move happens, then ETH does. Similarly, then you start getting the other large caps and then the real alt season where everything is just going parabolic. However, you want to be prepared before this happens. So it might mean enduring a little bit of bumps and dips, but I look at this right now as an opportunity to, if you do get dips, to strengthen your positions. We've been building this altcoin portfolio. I've been sharing it with you since February when we started this. We started this portfolio February, and we're down on some stuff. We're up on other stuff. But the point with this, I wanted to show you, because some people want to trade. Some people don't have the constitution to deal with the emotionality of trading, but they want to be in the market. Well, I really do suggest for the majority of people out there, you shouldn't be trading. From the majority, if you're going to be in this market, pick the horses, pick the different assets that matter to you, that also sort of have that cross section with where the narratives are likely going to be in this market. And if they do dip, you add to the position. We've been stacking this the last 3 weeks. We almost doubled the position on Chainlink the last 3 weeks. And this is partially because some of the speculative sort of involvement, integration with some of the things BlackRock may be doing, also with the RWA narrative, also with engagement and integrations with Swift. I do think Chainlink is going to have an incredible cycle. A BitTensor, it's one of those, and I'm going to do a BitTensor I'm going to do a video on BitTensor again, a kind of update. A lot of important things going on there here in the next week or two. So stay tuned for that. But, we started stacking into this one in, I don't know what, August. We're already up 53% on this, but it's down. We're up 53% since we started allocating this. Aerodrome, we took like $9,000 profits, rotated into other altcoins, rebought on the dip. And look, we're up 58% on this. If we go, look, all time, watch go all time. So look at that. We're up $11,000 on that's 162%, but we did rotate some profits. But then again, Ondo starting to see some strength. Again, we're up a measly 4%. But again, this is, I think, going to do very well. And people say, well, why are you down? Why aren't you trading these? Because this portfolio specifically, I set up to show that you can make a position portfolio to buy, stack into. When you have opportunities to lower your average entry, you add in. But I'm looking at sometime next year to start taking profits. It might be when some of these are at 200, 300, 400% gains. It might be, as we discussed yesterday with Matthew Hyland when he came on, maybe the top's in April, maybe it's in October, maybe we get a double top. So we've got to have an idea and a plan in mind, but we also have to have the ability to be adaptable as the new data evolves. But we've been stacking into this. Some of it's down, but I expect 95% of these, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22 coins. I expect at least 20 of these coins will be up massively. Maybe 2 don't do as well. But it's also because I've been very careful about what I'm picking, why I'm picking it. And my time horizon on this portfolio is into next year sometime. My main goal was, as we started stacking, I think it was February 7th last year, was to be able to start stacking at a period of time that I knew that I could hold the majority of these for at least a year. So I could also reduce the amount of capital gains taxes versus short-term held, basically income. If you trade out of something in profit under 12 months, at least in the US, and this is not tax advice, this is just my general knowledge. If you trade out of something in profit at 11 months and 5 days, then you have to pay all the profits that is added to your income for that year, versus if you're holding something past 12 months, then you pay capital gains taxes, which is a huge difference in your tax liability at the end of the year. So that was the goal with this. So when we come back over here and we see some stuff's moving around, we still have the opportunity, but do know that a lot of the stuff that you're buying now, the majority of it, if not all, you're probably, if you are taking profits in the next year, if you're in a position, the likelihood of you being able to hold for a year and having this still be ultra profitable, it's diminishing by the day, because we don't know when that top's going to come in next cycle. So coming back over to what we want to talk about, looking at this, remember, we also have new narrative cycles happening with AI, with DePIN, with gaming. There's a lot of different narratives that could sort of circumvent some of this money flow. We might have AI pump when everything else is not doing as well, because of stuff that's going on with NVIDIA and the AI conferences and the GPU conferences and all that sort of stuff. So you got to make sure that you have your strategy down and you allow yourself to let the time happen in this market. Again, I just want to shout out, we got about 15 minutes left, but everybody participate here. If you're watching on Twitter, hit this retweet button, hit this like button. If you're on YouTube, come over to this page, hit that retweet, hit that like button. By doing that, it enters you to win. We do giveaways every Monday. So go ahead, show some love, get involved there. And I wanted to share something else. Where's my mouse at? And that is this right here. I had quite a few tweets yesterday, but it is, where is it at? It's 73K. The Bears are scrambling right now. I want to shout out this. Remember when October was canceled, October 4th? Currently up over 18%, fighting at all-time highs, and a few days ago, Bitcoin is programmed to go up because all underlying assets inflate under it. Gold inflates under it. They always find more gold. Money, they always print more money. Stocks, they do stock splits. But what we're seeing here, this was last year. I was talking about the first 14 days. We had a sell-off. If we zoom in on this, 14 days, minus 7.41%, and then launch, and it ended up at 28%. This was October 4th, I believe. Yeah. At this point, it was 5.5%. What does it look like now? Okay, where are we at? This is October 1st right here. So this is the open. Let's zoom in on this just a touch. This is the open right here. And what did we get down to? That was about 5. Ultimately, look at that. I can't make this up. 7% dip. 7% dip. Almost exactly like we saw last year. And then ultimately, bop. And what do we see? Guys, the market is telling us what it wants us to do. And if you want to make money in this market, you got to be patient. And I even said it here. Patience pays. And there was another one right in here. I don't know where it is. I don't want to go searching for it. And here's just a funny song I recorded back in March when we hit all-time high, near all-time highs, broke into new all-time highs in March. But it's you can go listen to that if you want. I think I just redid all the words for crypto. It's knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. But guys, we got it. We're looking good. Now, do we need to pay attention to 86.2K? We could talk about that. I don't think this is going to be as big of a deal. I think this is going to be a gateway. I think we will push up to it. I think we will have some issue in the $83,000 to $85,000 range, have a little bit of a pullback, retest on that $75,000, $74,000 area, and then start to get that move. So I'm not too worried about this. I know a lot of people are looking at this. And then ultimately, these are those levels that I'm watching. We got a bit of a bull flag right now. I did share this. I posted this right before we went live. We got a bit of a bull flag here. We're getting the move down, but as it stands, the target out of this is $78,000. If this will only be confirmed as a bull flag if this does break out and clear this high. You could say the candle bodies, but really clear this $73,000 mark. Why? Because this could ultimately end up being an M formation before it breaks down. But these are the levels I'm watching. Why can't you pick a direction, Kelly? Because the data is going to evolve every 5 minutes for eternity when you're looking at these markets. Different different impulses and sentiment and news cycles and participation. If Apple announces they're going to go on the Bitcoin standard, then this bull flag won't even matter. This will shoot right through 78,000. But we're watching this 69.5, which is this previous range top. this level, which is this previous, basically this line here, I actually put from where the previous all-time high was. That's where that line is. I didn't draw it arbitrarily of where the price action, just went to. I didn't say, let me mark this. No, I marked this over here. If it's see this, basically there's quite a few candle bodies right in this zone. So I split them, or the candle wicks right in this zone. And where do we see the price action had some trouble? Right at that area, wick up, right back down, formed an order block. The order block suggesting that there was a lot of orders dumping at this area, a lot of orders in the order book, large orders. So you're getting this a liquidity interest resistance zone right above us. And now as we stand right now, we're kind of, look at this. And I drew all this yesterday. In fact, let me show you here in the BitLab Discord. Where is it at? See this? I shared this yesterday. For those of you that are members, the link is right, where is it at? Right there, lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. As this was pushing up, this hadn't even hit that zone yet. I said, market is ripping. Pay attention for some potential washout pullbacks to reset some of the strength indicators. These are the levels I'm watching. What are those levels? It got up to the level that we outlined before it got there, and now it had the pullback that basically bounced right on this zone. What am I talking about? This is that level. Pushed up, came back. Look, a little deviation below. We're sitting right at it. So if we start losing this, I start getting more and more, the probability is more likely we're coming back down into this zone, which is this previous range high right here. But we also got some other movement. Shout out Kelly Kells dropping that alpha. My man. Yo, Blood, you want to come on the stream? Let me know. I can send you a link. Send me a message on Twitter. If so, I can send you a link. You can pop on here and drop some knowledge bombs. But we got to look, because Link's starting to wake up a little bit. But is it? We got the pump, but where did the pump go to? The pump went to previous, look at this order block that was already in the chart. What am I talking about? This, I didn't draw this. The BitLab Trading Stack Indicators that you can get at that link right over there if you take the upgrade, shows where a lot of liquidity interest came into the charts. It came in right here, and look at this, rejected at it, came up right now. We pushed up into it, but we're at the moment kind of rejecting at it. So we really want to see this clear this 1230 to 1248 region. And then we're going to be looking to this next target. Look, right where this rejected previous order block right in here. And that is right up here at basically $13. And if it clears that, this is ultimately the level we're watching, the $13 mark, which, because the way this works, it looks like it's going to be right in this zone. Steve-O loves Deezy, says, good morning, Kelly. You're my hero. Please don't tell Deezy. I will not tell him. Yo, Deezy! No, it's all good. He is in the other office, but he can't hear me. This is where we're watching, guys. When this starts to get to ripping, I think honestly with Chainlink, everybody's so worried about it but remember, it's at 550 days, 550 days, 524. Arguably, sideways price action. And then we're getting that little bit of a pump to the upside and then break back down. But let's get out to the 3-day and just look at this. We already drew it out from the top to the bottom. We got that Fibonacci sequence, boom, boom. And we can see that the golden pocket, just the golden pocket's at $34. The next level up from there, 786, $42. Previous all-time high is up here in the $53 range. And I expect we're going to get somewhere minimum this 1.382, which is $71. And most likely, and see, we did this a month or so ago. This is the area I'm expecting Chainlink to get to reasonably. If we fall a little short at the 1.618, $84, that's still, guys, that's still $84. That's still a 6x. If we get up into the zone right up in here, that's an 8.8x. And why do I think that? It's not just because it's a coin that I invest in, and I know a lot of you do as well. It's because it is participating in so many different narratives in the market, from the RWA to the oracles to basically being somewhat of a glue for interoperability in some capacity. Also, basically integrating with the Swift network, integrating with Web 2 and legacy finance and legacy data with basically bring it into the Web 3 sort of realm. There's so many different things that are involved with Chainlink that I mean, the future is so bright for this one. Now, also Avalanche, nice move to the upside, coming back down. We talked about this on this sort of move up, that it may have an indication that it wants to break down from here. And we're sitting right on the precipice of this right now. If this does have a little bit of a washout, if the market in general has a little bit of a washout, I'm watching this to come down into this, 24. Over in this region, I talked about this, and look at where this tapped. I'm not making stuff up, guys. I'm just looking at the probabilities. I talked about it over here. It broke down, and it broke right down. You can see the wick right into this zone. Now we have an order block under us. So if this does bounce down here, found support, higher low, continuation. But if we do move down into this zone and lose it, then I'm watching for this to come a bit lower, which is the target of this symmetrical triangle, which you measure. You take this measurement just like this, the widest part of the triangle, and you see back here when this was forming, we drew both an upside target and a downside target based on the width. See? I just kind of made it like that. So the target on the upside was up here, but that got invalidated because it came down here, broke, and it's trying to confirm potentially a further breakdown. So let's pay attention here. Does that mean we're bearish on AVAX? No, it means we might be setting up for a bullish buy opportunity, especially if we have maybe a limit order set down here in the 2120 to 2165 sort of region, which is a target to the downside out of this, which also, look at this. Let me get the, look at where that is. The target to the downside is perfectly where this was support and also resistance right there and resistance right there. So there's a couple signs and signals that we may get a better opportunity in price action here on Avalanche to the downside. Let's look at some other things we haven't looked at lately. Let's see. Solana. We talked about this flat level of resistance, rising level of support. This signals a likely bullish breakout. What we got the bullish breakout. It came back, confirmed the breakout, came up. It feels a little trappy though, because it did confirm and broke above this, but it's looking immediately weak. If the market generally has a bit of a pullback to the downside, I expect this to come back into this zone. We'll have to watch if it breaks below 158, but I do think that the Solana narrative is very strong for all those out there that are very bullish on Solana. BNB also was looking like the same thing. Flat level of resistance, rising level of support, starting to kind of break outside of this zone, but it's basically still regionally in this area. If this does have a break to the upside, I'm immediately watching for 645 as a little bit of resistance, but we got to pay attention to that. The breakout target is up here at 797 to 900, depending on where you're measuring this from. But I'm very bullish on BNB in this next cycle. Golly, that chart has so much crap on it. Let's clean it up a bit and make it a little more simple. Yeah, which one are you talking about? Talking about Solana? Let's do it. Let's clean it up. Thanks for calling me out. Sometimes I move so quickly here that let's see. Boom, turn that off. Don't need this anymore. Don't need this anymore. Don't need this anymore. Don't need this anymore. We can delete the fib there, and I will keep these two like this, but we don't need this. Oh yeah, we'll keep it just like that. That's kind of the main levels I'm watching. So if this does break down, this ultimately would be where I think would be the best opportunity if that were to happen. But we're watching right in this zone what happens for the near future. But Injective also, look at this, trading sideways, rounding bottom, like we just saw with Bitcoin that then started breaking out to the upside. But it's rounding bottom. It's kind of consolidating into the zone. If we can break free of this $20, 2052 range, the next target up is right here at 2266. And then we'd be basically targeting it up, essentially that next level up, which I'm looking at these tops here, which is at 2868. But ultimately the move out of this, the target is up here into the $43 range. But guys, the market is looking exciting. It's feeling good. Aerodrome also, showing some strength, but looking a little weak here. Potential shoulder, head, shoulder if this comes down, which would mean we'd likely get an opportunity down in this zone. We can delete this. We can do some housekeeping. If this does turn, this is not a head and shoulders yet. It's a potential one that's forming. If that does form, the shoulder forms here, and it breaks below the neckline, that's how you know you have the head and shoulders. Then the target of that would be right here to this previous low range, previous high range, right here at 71 cents. But I don't see that happening, but I'm aware that there's something maybe forming. If I'd like to see this actually break above this, find support, and then have a continuation of the upside, but it's fighting this range right here. All this chop, support, resist, support. This zone is what I'm watching, breaking through this for a bit of a continuation. DOT, we haven't looked at DOT in a minute. Look at this, just being suppressed. Falling wedge. Boom, 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 boom. Now, rejection with deviation. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to keep this kind of like this, how that is, but I'm going to do a different trend line right here of these specific tops right there. And this does look a little bearish because this looks like, you see this? Descending level of resistance, flat level of support. We'd really like for this, if this does break down, to hold above 356, because this is a long time sort of, all the way back to September 2020, long time sort of low that we're looking at in here. What we'd like to see, as you see all these momentum waves to the downside getting smaller, we'd like to see this push up into this 463 zone, come up here, butt its head against 535. It likely won't just push through this. It likely will get rejected, come back down, chop some people out, and then make the move up into here and to have that continuation to the upside. It's going to take some time, but guys, the market's looking good. The market's feeling good. We are on the precipice of what a wonderful holiday season this could be. Let's not get emotional if this market chops around at the same time. Why are you on at the same time as Blockchain Basement? I'm not. I am on from 11:30 to 12:30. And then as soon as I'm done, they go on right after that. In fact, I'm going to send you there right now. As soon as you don't even have to leave the stream, this will automatically send you over to the Blockchain Basement. And just a reminder, if you are tuned in on YouTube, if you're tuned in on Twitter, doesn't matter where you tuned in from, head over to @Academy BitLab or @Kellam and make sure you hit that retweet, hit that like button, and pay attention. If you want to get in our free traders group, the link is right here. We've been breaking down signals. We've been having profits being turned daily. I was sharing quite a few things in there yesterday as well. Also, if you want to make sure that you can protect yourself from bad online activity and basically scammers and all that kind of stuff, make sure you head over to this link right here, nordvpn.com/BitLab. It gets you 4 months rent-free, 4 months free signing up with that link. Again, that's nordvpn.com/BitLab. It's also a great way to help show some love and support the channel. We have about 520 people in here. I love each and every one of you. Let's make sure we do this right. Take advantage of the opportunities when they arise. But that's all I got. To anybody out there that's watching this in your pajamas at home, have a New Girl on or some other TV show on in the background, or maybe I'm on your screen in the background. Big love to each and every single one of you out there, no matter what you're doing. And with that, I'll give you a wink and say, let's have a wonderful day. Let's crush it. And I'll see you later.